Ever caught yourself on an exam, reading the question and thinking, I know that this is on my summary at page number 2 under section 6.4 and it's highlighted in bright pink and it's something about blood vessels. But when you try to answer the question, you're thinking like, what the? I can't recall the information. You just fell into something that we call the trap of recognition. I'm sorry to tell you, but you are doing something wrong. So today we're going to go through the 7 levels of learning from the shallowest form of I kind of know this to the deepest level where you actually create new ideas and master the subject. Level 1 is about recognition. I've seen this before. This is where most people start and they unfortunately stay. At level 1, your brain simply recognizes information. You see a formula, a word, or a concept and you think, oh yeah, I've seen that before. But you couldn't explain it if someone asked. Typical methods here are rereading notes, scrolling slides, watching lecture slides on repeat. They make you feel productive, but your brain isn't being challenged. It's like watching someone lifting the weights and calling that your workout. Recognition doesn't build brain muscle. So why do we even do this? It's not your fault. You spend around 13,000 hours at school between the age of 5 and 22, and on average 0 hours teaches about learning how to learn. So if you don't know what to do instead, you can't blame yourself for not knowing this. And it makes me happy you're here because you want to get better. Level number 2 is about remembering. I can recall it. Kind of. Now you can recall facts, but only on the surface level. You might remember that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell and that the capital of France is Paris. But if I asked you why that matters or how it connects to anything else, you would freeze. Typical methods here are flashcards, summaries, copying notes word for word. Better than recognition, but still not great. It's short-term memory and not true learning. And that's why 84% of students still forget what they studied within a week. It's a huge problem, especially when you only start applying this basic level 1 week before your exam with 8 chapters to cover. And here's the problem. The world doesn't reward you for memorization anymore. AI can already do that better than you. What matters now is understanding, application, and critical thinking. We're looking for people who can think at level 4, 5, and 6. Level number 3 is about understanding. Can you explain it? Now we're getting somewhere. At level 3, you don't just remember, you truly understand. You can explain concepts in your own words and you start connecting the dots between ideas. Effective methods that we can use here is teaching the concept to someone else, the Feynman technique. You can draw diagrams, or you can summarize complex ideas in simple language. Understanding is the bridge between knowing about something and actually grasping it. But understanding alone still isn't enough to perform under exam pressure or solve real-world problems. It's nice to be able to explain something in simple terms, but if you don't know how it applies in real life, or if you can't justify why you use one type of drug over the other to cure a patient, you're not ready yet. It's a step forward, but just not there yet, you know? I can explain everything in simple terms, kind of understand it. But when one of my students asks me, now, how should I do it in this context? Or what am I doing wrong? I'm left speechless because I don't know the real application yet, nor can I analyze their situation accurately. Which brings us to the next level, application. I can use this. This is where learning gets practical. You take what you know and you use it in new situations. You're solving problems, you're doing case studies, you're applying the formulas. Your brain starts building stronger neural connections because it's no longer just recalling, it's actually using. Methods that work here are practice questions, mock exams, case-based learning, role-playing or simulations. Students who consistently operate at this level retain knowledge longer and perform better, not because they're smarter, but because they train their brain to do, not just to know. This is why students that I work with consistently get 90% plus on their exams, because this is where learning becomes really fun. Now your knowledge actually has a purpose. For the ambitious students among us, if you want to become a great entrepreneur, engineer, doctor, you want to train your brain to apply your knowledge, not just sit on it. Execution makes you learn faster and better, so expose yourself to challenges, practice problems, and real-life simulation. Level 5, about analyzing. I can break it apart. At this level, you start to think like a scientist. You look at the information and start asking yourself, what patterns do I see? What causes this? How do these parts fit together? You're not just studying to pass, you're studying to understand systems. And here's some methods that can get you there. You can compare theories or models, create tables for yourself, create concept maps, start asking yourself why and how questions after every topic. This is where critical thinking develops, the skill that AI still can't replace. And yes, this makes your brain crack, because you actually have to start thinking how all concepts fit together and why one is better over the other. And that's exactly the point. If it was easy, everyone would do it, right? So now that you're really leveling up in terms of learning and you're getting ready for the final levels. This brings us to level 6, evaluation. You can judge the situation. I can judge this. Now you can evaluate ideas, arguments, and methods. You can spot weak evidence, you can question assumptions, and you can defend your own reasoning. This is the level that separates average students from top performers. Methods to practice in this situation is debating with your peers, reviewing journal articles, writing short essays that argues the for and against of the concept. When you can evaluate, you no longer depend on others to tell you what's right, because you start to think independently. That's real academic maturity. Don't be afraid to judge. People judge all the time, so you're allowed to do it too. If you then judge something, also come up with a reason why you believe this is the best way to go. This brings us finally to level 7, creation. Now you can build something new. The final level. This is where learning turns into mastery. You combine everything that you've learned to create something original. A research project, a new method, a business idea, a fresh way to explain a concept. Methods that you can use are designing experiments, building projects, teaching, or content creation. Creation is proof that you've internalized knowledge so deeply that you can use it to shape something new. That's when learning becomes impactful. An example here is that I'm creating this content because I remember all of these levels. I understand them. I know how to apply all the different types of learning methods that we discussed. I'm able to analyze a student, their situation, and give them a solution. And lastly, I can evaluate what they are doing is right or wrong. This allows me to help students go from failing to A's in as little as 4 weeks, because we can create a study plan for them that makes them succeed. Now that you understand the 7 levels of learning, check out this video where we go in detail on how you can learn so fast it feels like you're on study steroids.